Deep in the heart of Germany, hidden within the dark caves of the Swabian Jura, lies one of the oldest and most mysterious sculptures ever discovered by humankind. This is the story of the Lion-Man of Hohlenstein-Stadel, a figure carved from mammoth ivory over 40,000 years ago. It is a relic from a time when ice covered much of Europe, and early humans struggled to survive in a harsh and unforgiving world. But more than that, it is a glimpse into the minds of our ancient ancestors, their fears, their beliefs, and their dreams. The story begins in 1939, when archaeologists were exploring the caves of Hohlenstein-Stadel. The caves themselves were cold and silent, untouched for thousands of years. As the researchers carefully dug through the layers of earth, their tools struck something hard and smooth. At first, they thought it was just another piece of bone, but as they brushed away the dirt, they realized they had found something extraordinary. It was the broken pieces of a figurine, a creature with the body of a man and the head of a lion. The discovery was shocking. No one had ever found anything like it before. The figurine was small, only about a foot tall, but the craftsmanship was incredible. The artist had carved every detail: the powerful muscles of the lion's head, the strong posture of the human body. But the most surprising thing was its age. This was not the work of a modern artist or even a civilization from a few thousand years ago. This was made by people who lived during the last ice age, a time when survival was a daily struggle. The archaeologists carefully collected all the pieces, but before they could study them further, World War II began. The fragments of the Lion-Man were stored away in a museum, forgotten in the chaos of war. It wasn't until 30 years later, in 1969, that researchers finally put the pieces together. They realized that the fragments belonged to a single statue, one of the oldest works of art ever found. But who made the Lion-Man? And why? The people who lived during the Ice Age were hunter-gatherers. They spent their days tracking animals, gathering plants, and trying to stay alive in a world of freezing temperatures and dangerous beasts. They did not have cities, writing, or metal tools. Yet, they took the time to carve this strange and beautiful figure. Some experts believed the Lion-Man was a shaman, a spiritual leader who could communicate with the spirit world. In many ancient cultures, shamans wore animal skins or masks during rituals, believing they could take on the powers of those animals. The lion was one of the most powerful predators of that time, feared and respected by humans. By combining the lion's strength with human intelligence, the artist may have been trying to create a being of great power, a protector or a guide. Others think the Lion-Man was a god or a mythical hero. In many ancient myths, hybrid creatures appear as guardians or tricksters, bridging the gap between humans and the divine. Perhaps the people of the Ice Age told stories of a lion-headed hero who battled monsters or brought fire to humanity. We may never know the true meaning of the Lion-Man, but its existence tells us one thing for certain: our ancestors had rich imaginations and deep spiritual lives. The making of the Lion-Man would have been an enormous task. The artist used a piece of mammoth ivory, which was incredibly hard to carve without metal tools. They would have used stone blades and patience, slowly shaping the figure over weeks or even months. Every stroke of the tool was a risk. One wrong move, and the ivory could shatter. Yet they persisted. This tells us that the Lion-Man was not just a simple toy or decoration. It was something important, something sacred. After it was finished, the Lion-Man may have been placed in a special part of the cave, perhaps near a fire where people gathered for rituals. The flickering light would have made the figure seem alive, its shadow dancing on the walls like a spirit from another world. The people who saw it may have believed it had real power, the power to protect them from danger, to bring success in hunting, or to guide the souls of the dead. Then, for reasons we will never know, the Lion-Man was left behind. Perhaps the cave was abandoned, or the people who revered it were forced to move on. Over thousands of years, the ivory was buried under layers of earth, waiting silently in the darkness. Today, the Lion-Man stands in a museum, a silent witness to a time long forgotten. It is a reminder that even in the hardest of times, humans have always sought meaning, always told stories, always created art. The people who carved it could not have imagined that their work would survive for tens of thousands of years. That one day modern humans would stare at it in wonder, trying to understand their world. The Lion Man is more than just a statue. It is a bridge between us and the distant past, a message from a lost world. It tells us that no matter how much time passes, some things never change. The need to believe in something greater, the desire to create, and the power of imagination. And so, the Lion Man remains a guardian of mysteries, a symbol of the ancient bond between humans and the wild, between the real and the mythical. It is a piece of the first stories ever told, carved not just in ivory, but in the very soul of humanity.